What's up, guys? Lo here, EM3 Strength and Conditioning. Hope everyone is doing fine. I have a video today. We're going to talk about engagement. Not the kind of your fiance, but the kind you need or the kind you do when you are training and working out. All right. Engagement is very, very important. All right. Because first of all, it adds that meditative part to your training. And it also allows you to stay focused and not drift away and start thinking about other things, this or that, who's here, who's that, scrolling on Facebook or wherever. All right. So engagement, not only of the body, but also of the mind. Super important to engage the mind because many people go to the gym to relieve stress and to almost like get away. That's my time. That's what people say. That's my time, this and that, right? And that's great. So when it's on your time, make sure you're using your time specifically for you. All right, not for Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and the girl over here and the guy over there. And why is he doing that? And why is she doing this? No, engage your mind and engage your body. All right, so here we go. We're going to get started. All right, so like I said, engagement, focus in, not focus out. Focus in here in order to focus in here also. Engagement, in this case, I'm going to call it focused thought. Just like I said, focused thought. Focused on what? Focused on what you're doing. Focused on how you're moving. Focused on what you're moving. And focused on how it's moving. And I'll do a couple examples a little later. So, focused thought. Thought on what? And honestly, it really depends on what you're doing. All right, because if you're doing a barbell squat, that requires a different kind of thought than even doing dumbbell squats. Such as, are you doing high bar, low bar, front squat? Are you doing ass to grass? Are you doing an Olympic squat? You know, same thing. Always have to focus on what it is that you're going to do because it all engages other things. It really all comes together. So check it out. What to think during exercise? What are you thinking when you're training? What are you thinking about? What's going through your mind? All right. Now let's take a couple scenarios here. You're at XYZ Fitness. All right. Any gym, any town, any country, any city in the world. You're going to see other people. Okay. TVs. You have your phone. You have your own thoughts. You may have your watch. Maybe you have your friend with you. So what is it that you're thinking about when you are training, when you're working out? All right. What you should be thinking about is exactly what you're doing. Think about what you're doing and you have to engage in that mentally. All right. And you also have to engage the muscles that you're working and also engage the muscles that are holding you up, that are keeping you standing or sitting or lying down. Because when you're lying down, you know, your body is still engaged in holding you up. All right. So what is it that you think about? When I'm training, I'm thinking about what I'm doing. All right. I'm thinking about how am I moving. All right. I'm going to use the example of a curl. All right. Picture a dumbbell. All right. I'm thinking about staying nice and tall, engaging my core. I'm going to stop right there. All right. Engaging your core. What does that mean? I find it's not exactly the easiest thing to explain. I always hear it explained as take your navel in, all right, like almost like towards your spine. All right, so I'm gonna stick my stomach out, right? All right, navel in, okay, or suck it in, let's say. All right, I don't I don't necessarily like to use that term because it reminds me of, suck it in and then hold your breath. All right. And that's not what engaging your core means. I'd rather describe it as that reaction you get when someone scares you, tickles you, or grabs you or you slip and you don't fall but you tense up. That's engaging your core. That is what your core is actually meant to do: hold you up, keep you rigid. All right, no matter where you are. But that's something else. Engaging your core. Because the problem is, if you suck it in and then you say, okay, now let's work out and breathe while you're doing that, it's like, well, it may not click. So instead of saying to yourself, I'm gonna, my navel towards my thing, no. Think of it as, I'm going to stiffen up. Like someone's tickling me. All right. Engaging your core. All right. So, anyway, we're gonna get back to what to think about when we're exercising. All right. So again, I'm using the example of the bicep curl. Bang. All right. I have to think about my core engaged, staying engaged. All right. I want my elbows to be in the right place. All right. You don't necessarily want it moving around all over. All right. You want it doing, boom, what it needs to do. All right. Shoulder has to be engaged. It can't be loose. Protect the shoulder by engaging. How do you engage the shoulder? Very funny question. Check it out. For me, all right, the old fart sounds, right? Boom, engage that core, squeeze, engage that shoulder, squeeze it against you, boom, look, right away. Pow. All right, so I'm thinking about engaging my core, protecting my shoulder, squeezing, keeping my elbow in. That's before I've even started moving my arm. Once the arm starts moving, once that bicep starts to flex, once it starts to contract, all right, now I'm thinking, all right, I use my, let's say, X-ray eyes, and I see through my skin. I can see my muscle. I picture my muscle coming, pulling, and then releasing, controlled. And I picture it. All right, if you have a more of a mechanical mind, think of a Terminator arm or a robot arm, doing all the whatever it takes. Like when he cuts over, you can see all his stuff moving on the inside. I'm not a mechanical kind of dude, so do not expect that kind of terminology from me. But boom, picture that muscle, picture what it's doing. All right, get to the cellular level, see all the processes, the blood flowing into the muscle. Picture all of that. All right, because that's what's happening. You get that pump. Your blood vessels are pumped, your muscles are pumped, they're full of blood, working hard, contracting, just like you want them to, just like you're thinking about doing. That's why it's doing it, because you're thinking about it. You're engaging the mind to the body. All right? So, I know that was a little lengthy, but still, what to think about when you work out? You think about what you are doing, and everything else comes second. More importantly, what do you do when you're resting in between sets? You rest. Don't get on your phone. Don't start talking to someone whatever. No, you close your eyes, breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. Focus, thought, engagement. All right? Bam. Don't forget about that. Mind, body, connection. All right. So, you can see here, we kind of touched up on a lot. I just said a lot of what we said. What to think about during exercise? First of all, there's too many distractions. Phones, TVs, other people. All right? Focus on muscles being moved and joints. Think about what you're doing and what is truly and honestly happening. All right? Picture it. In order to grow muscle, you need to tear those little muscle fibers in there. You don't want to tear muscle tissue. You want to tear muscle fibers. All right? The more you can focus into what you're doing, the better results you'll get, and they'll come faster. And you build mental toughness. You strengthen your mind. You learn to apply what you're doing here into your real life. Let's say a project at work, or dealing with kids and family and running into sports and this and that. If you can do this and focus in on that, then you can focus on your other stuff too. Let what you learn here transfer out into your real life. All right, so focus on muscles being moved. Focus on the contraction. See yourself as a machine. All right? See yourself as a machine. And very importantly, seriously, super, super, super important, learn a little bit of anatomy. It is a super fascinating subject. I love it. I love it. It is amazing. Everything that happens inside your body every second of your life. Billions and billions and billions of processes. The way your muscles move, the way they feed off of the lungs, the way the heart pumps the blood, the way it feeds your brain, the different systems. It's super, super important, because when you train, it starts to make more sense, the whole engagement part and how it all works together. Not just getting strong, getting big, but the metabolism part of it, the cellular part of it, the chemical part of it. The more you learn, the better your training will be all around. Because if your training is good, if you learn a lot about your training, then automatically you're going to say, well, let me learn about nutrition, because that's what's going to feed my training. You see what I'm saying? And then it's just one awesome vicious cycle. All right, so I'm going to go over a couple examples of engagement with some dumbbells. All right, so come here and check this out. I'm using the example of the bent row, because there's a whole lot of engagement even before the move starts. It's pretty much a full body exercise. So I'm gonna move this back just a little bit. All right, I got my shirt off so you can see how out of shape I am. Not so bad, I guess, right? Anyway, doesn't matter. So check it out. All right, I got my dumbbells here. I'm gonna pick them up. All right, right now my hands engaged, my shoulders engaged, they're pulled back, my legs are engaged, my glutes engaged. Standing up, I'm gonna turn to my side so you can see the profile. Now, I'm gonna get myself back into that bent position, or I call it the bottom of the deadlift. And again, right now, everything is engaged. Everything is engaged. My legs, my core, shoulders are holding up, our hands gripping, all right? Now I'm gonna put that butt back, just like I'm doing a deadlift. All right, now here's the issue. I don't want my shoulders here. I want them here. All right, this is the position. This is the starting position. This is the actual move. Boom. So, legs engaged. The back is engaged. Core is engaged. Back here, which is also your core, is engaged. Hamstrings locked, glutes engaged. Shoulders rolled back, not ridiculously rolled back, just not rolled forward. Neutral position, then you start rowing. All right? Engagement, very important when you are training. Doesn't matter what exercise you're doing, you are never using one muscle. Focus in on what you're doing to prevent injury and to accelerate results. All right? Something I need to work on, right? EM3 strength and conditioning, engagement. Next time you go to the gym, make sure you are engaging this with the rest. Clear your mind. That time is for you to learn, grow, get stronger, and be a better version of yourself than you were the day before. EM3 strength and conditioning.